Robert Whitley was born on August 1, 1931, to Mr. and Mrs. Ewing Whitley in Corpus Christi, Texas. He spent most of his life living in and around Portland, Texas, and graduated from Corpus Christi High School in 1948. Prior to joining the military, Robert worked for Central Power and Light as a meter repairman. He decided to join the Marine Reserves late in the year 1948 and was officially a reservist on January 18, 1949. At that time, the standard term of service was 2 years. Since World War II had just ended, Robert had no idea that he would be called into active duty.
A bunch of my friends joined, and they looked real neat in their uniform, so I thought I'd join.
1.5 years after joining the reserves, North Korea invaded South Korea, breaking a tense peace and spurring the United States into action to prevent the spread of communism.
Into Korea, along the U.S. Air Force route from Japan for on-the-scene films from inside Asia's crisis point. With communist invaders pouring south past the 38th parallel, their prong-like attacks have already enveloped many South Korean units. And more Southern Korean troops were rushed up to fill in the gaps.
This turn in political events prompted the activation of Robert's reserve unit and the extension of his term of service to 3 years. This removed any doubt that Robert would be. Margaret Charlene Michaels, his soon-to-be wife, and Robert's mother followed him to San Diego and lived in a trailer on the beach that had no shower just to be close to him. Robert and Charlene decided to get married before he left for active duty overseas. On October 27, 1950, they were wed on base during Robert's basic training. He was not allowed to leave the base after the brief ceremony that was performed by the base chaplain. During basic training, Robert spent 2 weeks at Camp Matthews becoming a rifle marksman. At that time, it was required of all Marines to be qualified as a rifle marksman. Immediately following basic training, Robert's company was sent to Camp Pendleton, where he and his fellow Marines awaited transfer. Those who did not have prior Pacific experience, as in Robert's case, were sent for more intense training in Mount Idlewild, California. Since the Korean winter is very rough, the extra training focused heavily on winter combat techniques. After completing training, Robert's company was activated. Robert then became a full member of the Marines' 1st Battalion, 1st Regiment, 1st Division, Able Company. On January 27, 1951, Robert and the Able Company were sent to Korea on the transport ship USS General J.C. Breckinridge. Upon crossing the 180th meridian in the Pacific Ocean, Robert was accorded the honor of the Domain of the Golden Dragon, which cheerfully indoctrinated soldiers into the mysterious ways of the Far East. During the day, the more than 20,000 soldiers were only allowed to be on deck, except for meals and toilet breaks.
You get 20,000 troops in a confined area, and it's pretty congested and pretty nasty, unsanitary. But in what they call the heads of the restrooms, it was just several long troughs with commode seats sitting on these metal troughs with water in them. And of course the ship rocked back and forth, side to side, and the water would run from one end of the trough to the other. And you only had a certain length of time to use the restrooms in the morning and of the afternoon. And usually they were, if you sat on a commode seat, there were 4 or 5 people in front of you waiting for you to get through to use it. And invariably somebody would make what they call a fireboat. They'd get a piece of cardboard and put a bunch of toilet tissue on the cardboard and put lighter fluid on the toilet paper and set it on fire, and then set it on the trough. And of course it would run down the trough, and everybody would have to raise up when the fireboat come by, and then you'd set down, then it'd be coming back from the other direction, and you'd have to raise up, trying to go to the bathroom, and then 4 or 5 people stand in front of you hollering, hurry up, hurry up. So it was quite hard to get any privacy. I think I was 18 or 19 and never been away from home before, in a strange country, so it was quite frightening.
Robert arrived in South Korea on February 15, 1951, and was issued an American Safe Conduct Pass, which supposedly was to ensure that he was treated well if he was captured by the communist forces in North Korea. Arriving in South Korea presented Robert with a major culture shock.
It was primitive. It was real rugged country. No highways, just dirt roads, no cities. I've often wanted to go back. I heard it's quite industrialized now. The cities are very similar to the ones in the U.S. now. The weather in Korea is very cold in the winter, hot in the summer. Very rugged country. It seems like you're always going uphill. I don't remember ever coming downhill, just going up mountains continuously.
Once on the front lines, Robert received the promotion to radio man by default. The acting radio man in his company was shot shortly before Robert's arrival. This new promotion made Robert a sergeant.
No, I had no training until I got to Korea. The radio man got shot, so they gave me the radio. I'd never seen one before until I got to Korea. Captain's radio operator. We had communications with our battalion. There were 3 companies to a battalion. Each company had a radio which kept in communications with our battalion commander. It's called an SCR radio, which was 35 pounds plus my personal gear. Of course, I took my sleeping bag and a few personal items.